Welcome back, everybody, to Let's Talk About Sleep, based on the book, Let's Talk About Sleep. The link will be in the description box, as always, to Amazon. If you like this video, please click like, please subscribe to the channel, and please share it with your friends and family. So, we're going to talk today about melatonin. So, melatonin is something that people talk about. You may have heard about it. People take it, okay? But what is it? Where does it come from? So in nature, right, when we're not exposed to TV and computer and whatever else, when it gets dark outside, the brain naturally makes melatonin, okay, the pineal gland, okay? And actually, it's interesting, the pineal gland, which is kind of in the geographic center of our brain, people call it the third eye, all right? And there's a lot of spiritual and mystical thought behind it, but scientifically, as far as what we know, it produces melatonin based on light signals, light cues, okay? So what happens is the sun goes down, our brain starts to produce, or pineal gland produces and secretes melatonin, and what that does, that begins the cascade of us starting to wind down, and the other neurotransmitters in the brain start to release their, do their thing, and the person starts to go into a state of tiredness and then sleep, okay? We don't live in nature, though. Okay, what we're exposed to is constantly by TV and computers and smartphones and tablets and all that is what we call blue light. Okay, you guys may have heard about that. What blue light is 440 nanometers in length. Okay, so it's right in the blue spectrum, and that light is unfortunately basically what it does. It tells the eyes to tell the brain that the sun is out. Okay, and that we should not be asleep yet. So what happens is we call it social jet lag. So because of all the things that we're exposed to, TV, iPad, our computer, all that stuff, and we use them way into the nighttime, we're constantly at this situation where we're telling our brain, no, it's not time to go to sleep yet. Okay? And in some people, it can get so bad, the melatonin production can be stopped so much that it actually contributes to them being unable to sleep when they want to, right? So insomnia. Okay? So in nature, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, this really didn't happen as much. I mean, people did have insomnia, but for different reasons. Now it's like we also have this electronic component to it, okay? So one of the first things that I may have my patients do, in addition to good sleep habits, you can see that in my other videos, such as shutting off the electronic devices 30 to 60 minutes before bed, is also take exogenous melatonin, right? So melatonin in a pill form. Okay, and what's cool is there's a lot of different pharmacies out there now that make melatonin you can just take either sublingually or as a pill or as a gummy. Doesn't really matter. Sometimes it's in combination with other things like L-theanine or valerian you may see, or other combinations of natural stuff. But the idea behind it is very simple. Is you're using this melatonin to supplement what the brain is already doing. Not so much to kind of reverse, right, the blue light that we're getting, but more sort of just kind of push things along. That's the way I use it in my patients, okay? Now, there's usually two formulations of melatonin that you can get. One is immediate release, okay, and that's just, to just say melatonin. And then there's long-acting or sustained release melatonin. So the way I kind of break it down is I say, look, if somebody is having trouble falling asleep, what I want them to do is start with immediate release melatonin. Usually I'll say like 1 to 3 milligrams, somewhere in there. Okay, and they take that, let's say, a half an hour or so before bedtime. And again, is this a miracle? No, but it may help them to fall asleep. If they have trouble staying asleep, what I may do there is again, 1 to 3 milligrams of time release or sustained release melatonin. Okay? Now, what's interesting about melatonin is it's not FDA regulated, right? It's essentially a vitamin. So when something is not FDA regulated, it's kind of like the Wild West in a way, right? So there are some good brands out there, Solgar, Nature Made, right? Those are all fine. For the time release versions, what I like is what's called REM Fresh, and I have no financial stake in this at all, but REM Fresh, REM Fresh, that's time release melatonin. Those come in 2 and 5 milligram pills. So again, either getting to sleep or staying asleep will kind of depend on which type you're going to get, and then the dosage, will usually start low and then go up from there. The max dose of melatonin I usually have patients do is about 10. Okay, in some cases 12, but You don't want to go to 30, 40 milligrams, because you're not going to get any more benefit in that case, and you may feel more hungover the next day. Okay, but there's different things out there that I've heard people say about melatonin, like you shouldn't take this more than 2 weeks in a row, or you shouldn't take this more than 2 months in a row. I'm not sure exactly where that comes from. What I will say though is this, okay, and this is important, is that melatonin by itself is not really dangerous in adults. Okay, remember this channel is for adults. In children, melatonin can have hormonal changes and stuff, so you definitely want to talk to a pediatrician about that. But in adults, though, melatonin for the most part is safe. It's not addictive. But what I always tell people is you don't want to use it as a Band-Aid, let's say. So, for example, let's say somebody has really bad obstructive sleep apnea, right? Airways closing off throughout the night, and they're kind of waking up, choking, gasping, right? I wouldn't suggest in that case the person takes melatonin and, just be done with it. No. You really want to make sure you're taking care of the underlying problem and then use melatonin as kind of a supplement to that. Okay, so that's kind of the way I usually go about things. But if a patient's under my care, I tell them, look, you could be on this for time immemorial, and as long as it's working and it's not, we're not covering something up, right? Then it's okay. All right, but as I always say with this channel, this is not a medical advice show. This is meant to be for educational purposes. So anything that you do, whether it be melatonin or some kind of supplement or whatever, you want to definitely discuss with your provider. Okay. Yeah, so that's basically melatonin in a nutshell. It's really interesting, actually, reading about it. It's one of the oldest hormones that is made in nature. So it's really, really interesting. And it's actually a very strong antioxidant in the body. So it's one of those things that definitely does require more study, but it's out there. People are using it. For the most part, it's safe, like I said, in adults. But again, you don't want to use anything really without at least discussing with your provider. And in the case of sleep specifically, you want to make sure you're not missing something. Okay, so that's today's episode. We're talking about melatonin. We're also talking about sleep, right? So if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section below. If they're appropriate, I'll respond to them, make a video about them. And until next time, sleep well, everybody.